Chapter 1. The Birth of a Visionary. In the coastal town of Porbandar, India, a child was born who would grow up to change the course of history. His name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. As we embark on this journey through his life, imagine the sounds of the bustling market, the aroma of spices in the air, and the vivid colors of the saris worn by the women as they pass by. This is the world Gandhi was born into on the 2nd of October, 1869. Gandhi's family was not wealthy, but they were respected in their community. His father, Karamchand Gandhi, was the chief minister of Porbandar, a position of great honor. His mother, Putlibai, was a deeply religious woman whose spiritual beliefs and practices would greatly influence young Mohandas. The sounds of prayers and the lessons of compassion, truth, and self-discipline were the background music of his early life. As a boy, Mohandas was just like any other. He played with his friends, learned to read and write, and helped his family with chores. But even as a child, there was something different about him. He was deeply thoughtful and often questioned the world around him. Why were some people treated better than others? What makes a person good or bad? These questions swirled in his young mind as he grew. School was a challenge for Mohandas. He was shy and not the top of his class. However, he had a certain determination, a quiet strength that would later define his character. His teachers noticed this, and though he was not the most outspoken, he was respected by his peers. At home, Mohandas was deeply influenced by the stories his mother told him, stories from ancient Indian texts about truth, bravery, and virtue. These stories left a lasting impression on him. They taught him about dharma, a word that means one's duty in life. For Gandhi, his dharma would become the pursuit of truth and justice. The young Gandhi also witnessed the traditional Hindu practice of non-violence, called ahimsa. This principle stated that all living things are connected and that harming another being is wrong. This idea deeply resonated with Gandhi and would later become the cornerstone of his philosophy. But life was not just about learning and playing. Gandhi also saw the harsh realities of his world. He observed the poverty and suffering around him. He saw the unfair treatment of people based on their caste, a rigid social system in India. These observations troubled him. How could a world with so much beauty also have so much injustice? When he was just 13, Gandhi's life took a significant turn. He entered into an arranged marriage with Kasturba, a girl of the same age. This was a common practice in India at the time. Gandhi and Kasturba would grow together, facing life's challenges as partners. She would become his support, his critic, and a vital part of his journey. As a teenager, Gandhi faced personal struggles. He had to balance the expectations of his family with his own desires and doubts. He wanted to make his parents proud, especially his father, who was a great moral influence on him. But he also wanted to find his path, to understand what kind of man he wanted to become. In his late teens, an opportunity arose that would set the stage for Gandhi's future. He was given the chance to study in England and become a lawyer. This was a big decision. It meant leaving his family, his home, and everything familiar to him. But Gandhi was ready for this challenge. He saw it as a way to learn about the world and to prepare himself for the great work that lay ahead. So, with a mixture of excitement and apprehension, Gandhi set sail for England. As the shores of India faded into the distance, a new chapter in his life was beginning. This journey would not only shape his future, but would lead him on a path to become one of the most influential figures in history. As we close this chapter on Gandhi's early years, let's reflect on the small boy from Porbandar, who grew up to be a beacon of hope and change. His journey teaches us about the power of questions, the importance of truth, and the strength that lies in quiet determination. Gandhi's life is a testament to the fact that every great journey begins with a single step, and every visionary starts as a child, looking at the world with wonder and questions. So, as we turn the page, let's carry with us the sounds, sights, and lessons of Gandhi's early years. Let's remember that within every child lies the potential to change the world. And let's ask ourselves, what will be our first step on the journey to making a difference? For Gandhi, it was a quest for truth and justice. What will yours be? Chapter 2. Student in London. Picture a young Mohandas Gandhi, just 18 years old, stepping off a ship onto the bustling docks of London. The year is 1888, and this is Gandhi's first step into a world vastly different from the one he knows. The air is filled with the sounds of carriages and the chatter of a city, alive with energy and possibility. This is the beginning of a new chapter, a time that would shape Gandhi's path in profound ways. As Gandhi walks the streets of London, everything is new and fascinating. The tall buildings, the crowded streets, the different faces from all over the world. He's here to study law, to become a barrister, but what he doesn't realize yet is that he's also here to learn about life, about people, and about himself. Life in London is not easy for Gandhi. He's far from home, missing his family and struggling to fit in. He tries to adopt English customs, to dress like an Englishman, to speak like one. He even takes dance lessons. But inside, he feels out of place. He's searching for something, but he doesn't quite know what. Studying law is challenging. The books are thick, the concepts complex. But Gandhi is determined. He spends hours in the library poring over texts, trying to grasp the principles of Western law. He's intrigued by the ideas of justice and fairness, ideas that will later become central to his philosophy. But it's not all study and struggle. Gandhi also discovers a world of new ideas in London. He attends debates, reads voraciously, and meets people with different perspectives. He's introduced to the works of great thinkers, to the writings on religion, philosophy, and equality. These ideas open his mind and stir something deep within him. One of the most significant moments during his time in London is when Gandhi comes across the Bhagavad Gita, an ancient Indian text. He reads it in English, and it's like a light turning on. The Gita speaks to him, its message of duty and righteousness resonating with his own search for truth. It's a spiritual turning point for Gandhi, one that will guide him for the rest of his life. But Gandhi's time in London is not just a journey of the mind, it's also a journey of the heart. He faces loneliness and doubt. He misses his mother's gently presence and his family's warmth. He struggles with his own desires and the expectations of those back home. It's a time of inner turmoil, but also of growth. As Gandhi's studies come to an end, he's a changed man. He's not just a barrister, he's someone who's seen a different part of the world, who's been exposed to new ideas and who's faced his own inner battles. He's ready to return to India, but he's not the same young man who left. As we close this chapter on Gandhi's time in London, let's reflect on the journey of a young man in a foreign land. He walked the streets of London with wide eyes, took in the sights and sounds of a world different from his own, and through it all found a deeper sense of purpose. Gandhi's time in London teaches us about the power of openness, of exposing ourselves to new ideas and different ways of life. It shows us that sometimes we need to step out of our comfort zones to really discover who we are and what we stand for. So, as you think about Gandhi walking through the foggy streets of London, remember that each of us has our own journey to undertake. We all have our own London to explore, our own lessons to learn. And just like Gandhi, we have the potential to return from our journeys transformed, ready to make a difference in the world. As we turn the page to the next chapter in Gandhi's life, Let's carry with us the spirit of curiosity, of growth, and of a young man stepping boldly into the unknown, ready to change the world. Chapter 3. South Africa Awakening. Imagine a young Mohandas Gandhi, now a barrister, embarking on a journey to South Africa. The year is 1893, and the world is vast and filled with the unknown. Gandhi is about to enter a period of his life that will shape not just his destiny, but the destiny of millions. The air is thick with anticipation and the sense of a new beginning. Gandhi arrives in South Africa to work on a legal case. He expects to stay for a year, but fate has other plans. From the moment he steps onto African soil, he is confronted with a reality that shakes him to his core. The racial discrimination, the stark divide between black and white, the injustice and inequality, it's all overwhelming and deeply disturbing. One day, Gandhi is traveling on a train to Pretoria. He has a first-class ticket, but because of the color of his skin, he's thrown off the train in a place called Pietermaritzburg. He spends a cold night in the station, shivering and alone. But it's not just the chill of the night that affects Gandhi. It's the chill of the harsh reality of racial discrimination. This incident lights a fire in him. He decides to stay in South Africa and fight against the injustice. Gandhi's struggle in South Africa is long and hard. He sees firsthand the suffering of the Indian community, treated as second-class citizens, their rights trampled upon. But Gandhi believes in the power of truth and justice. He starts to develop his philosophy of non-violent resistance, which he calls satyagraha, holding on to truth. It's a revolutionary idea, the idea that you can fight injustice not with violence but with non-violent protest, with civil disobedience, with the moral power of truth. Gandhi organizes the Indian community, leading protests, strikes and negotiations. He's arrested, beaten and insulted, but he never wavers. His philosophy is one of love and tolerance, not hatred and revenge. He teaches his followers to resist, but to resist peacefully, to stand firm, but not to strike back. During his time in South Africa, Gandhi goes through a personal transformation as well. He starts to live a simpler life, adopting what he calls brahmacharya, a life of simplicity and celibacy. He sets up a community called the Phoenix Settlement, where he and his followers live according to his principles of truth and non-violence. He also begins to wear a simple loincloth and shawl, a symbol of his solidarity with the poorest of the poor. The years pass and Gandhi's movement grows. He faces constant opposition, but he also starts to gain respect, both in South Africa and back home in India. People start to see the power of his ideas, the strength of his conviction. Gandhi's philosophy of non-violent resistance starts to take root, and his influence begins to spread. After more than 2 decades in South Africa, Gandhi's work brings about some changes. The Indian community gains some rights, and the foundation is laid for a larger struggle for freedom and equality. But perhaps the most significant change is in Gandhi himself. The young barrister who came to South Africa is now a seasoned leader, with a clear vision and a philosophy that will change the world. As we close this chapter on Gandhi's South African awakening, let's reflect on the journey of a man who faced the darkness of discrimination and injustice and chose to light a candle rather than curse the darkness. Gandhi's years in South Africa were a crucible, a time of testing and transformation. They were the years that forged the Mahatma, the great soul. Gandhi's South African journey teaches us about the power of resilience, the strength that comes from standing up for what's right, even when the odds are against you. It shows us the transformative power of non-violent resistance, the power of a single individual to make a difference. So, as we move forward in the story of Gandhi's life, let's carry with us the lessons of South Africa. Let's remember that in the face of injustice and discrimination, there is always a choice. We can choose to be silent, or we can choose to stand up and speak out. Gandhi chose the latter, and in doing so, he showed us the path to a better world. Chapter 4. The Satyagraha Movement. As we turn the pages of history to the next chapter in Gandhi's life, we find ourselves back in India. The year is 1915, and Gandhi has returned to his homeland after 21 years of living and struggling in South Africa. He's come back not just as Mohandas, the barrister, but as Mahatma, the great soul, armed with a powerful idea, Satyagraha. Satyagraha is a term that Gandhi coined himself. It's a Sanskrit word combining satya, meaning truth, and agraha, meaning holding firmly to. Together they form Satyagraha, the force of truth. It's more than just a strategy for resistance. It's a philosophy, a way of life. It's about fighting injustice, not with violence, but with the strength of truth and non-violent resistance. Gandhi believes that true change can only come when people confront their oppressors, not with anger or violence, but with firmness and truth. He believes that this approach not only has the power to transform the opponent, but also to elevate the one who practices it. As Gandhi begins his work in India, he's confronted with a country in turmoil. India is under British rule, and millions of its people are living in poverty and despair. The cries for freedom and change are growing louder, and Gandhi knows that the time for Satyagraha has come. His first big challenge is in Champaran, a district in Bihar. Here, the poor farmers are being forced by the British to grow indigo, a crop that benefits the British but leaves the farmers in poverty. Gandhi arrives in Champaran, and with his quiet determination, he begins to listen to the stories of the farmers, to understand their struggles and their pain. Gandhi's approach is different from other leaders of his time. He doesn't just speak, he listens. He doesn't just lead, he serves. He lives among the people, shares their hardships, and in doing so, he earns their trust and respect. With the power of Satyagraha behind him, Gandhi begins to organize the farmers. He teaches them to stand up for their rights, but in a way that is non-violent and dignified. The farmers begin to resist the British, not with swords or guns, but with the strength of their unity and the power of their truth. The struggle in Champaran is long and hard, but eventually Gandhi and the farmers emerge victorious. The British are forced to make significant concessions, and the farmers of Champaran are freed from the tyranny of the indigo plantations. It's a moment of triumph, not just for the farmers, but for the idea of Satyagraha. The success of Champaran spreads like wildfire across India. People begin to see the power of non-violent resistance. Gandhi's philosophy of Satyagraha becomes the guiding force behind the Indian struggle for freedom. Over the years, Gandhi leads many such movements. He leads the non-cooperation movement, the Salt Satyagraha, and the Quit India movement, each time with the principles of Satyagraha at the forefront. He's arrested, imprisoned, and often faces severe opposition, but his resolve never wavers. He remains firm in his belief that truth and non-violence are the most powerful weapons in the fight for justice. As we close this chapter on the Satyagraha movement, let's reflect on the legacy of Gandhi's philosophy. Satyagraha is more than just a strategy for political struggle. It's a call to live one's life with truth and integrity. It's a reminder that real strength comes not from power or violence, but from the courage to stand firm in one's convictions. Gandhi's journey with Satyagraha teaches us about the power of peaceful resistance, the strength of the human spirit, and the transformative potential of truth. It shows us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, a single person, armed with the force of truth, can change the course of history. So, as we turn the page to the next chapter in Gandhi's life, let's carry with us the lessons of Satyagraha. Let's remember that in our own lives, in our own struggles, we too can choose the path of truth and non-violence. We too can hold firmly to what we know is right, and in doing so, we too can make a difference in the world. Chapter 5. The Salt March. In the early morning light of March 12, 1930, a small, determined man takes his first steps on a journey that will become a landmark in history. This man is Mahatma Gandhi, and he's embarking on the Salt March, a defiant act of civil disobedience against British rule in India. The air is filled with a sense of anticipation, a feeling that something momentous is about to unfold. The British have imposed a salt tax, making it illegal for Indians to collect or sell salt, a staple in their diet. This tax is deeply symbolic, representing the broader oppression and control exerted by the British over the Indian people. Gandhi sees this as an opportunity, a way to unite the nation against the unjust laws of the British Empire. He plans to march 240 miles from his ashram in Sabarmati to the coastal village of Dandi, where he will make salt from the sea, breaking the British law. As Gandhi sets out on this journey, he's not alone. Dozens of supporters join him, and with each passing mile, more and more people flock to his side. They come from all walks of life, men and women, young and old, rich and poor. They are united by a common cause, a shared belief in the power of non-violent resistance. The march is a physical challenge, with the hot Indian sun beating down and the long road stretching out ahead. But Gandhi and his followers press on, their spirits high, their resolve unbreakable. They walk through villages and towns, and everywhere they go, they are greeted by crowds of supporters. People pour out of their homes to offer food, water, and encouragement. The march becomes a wave of humanity, moving steadily towards the sea. As the days pass, the march gains momentum. It captures the imagination of the nation and the attention of the world. Newspapers and radios buzz with news of Gandhi's bold challenge to British authority. The British government is alarmed. They know that Gandhi's peaceful march is a powerful threat to their rule. Finally, after 24 days of walking, Gandhi and his followers reach the shores of Dandi on April 5th. The next morning, in a simple but defiant act, Gandhi bends down and picks up a lump of natural salt from the mud. In that moment, he breaks the law, but he also breaks the chains of fear and submission that have held the Indian people for so long. The Salt March doesn't end at Dandi. It sparks a nationwide movement. Across India, millions of people begin making their own salt, defying the British law. The authorities respond with force, arresting thousands of protesters, including Gandhi himself. But the British cannot stop the tide that has begun. The Salt March has ignited a fire that will burn until India achieves its freedom. As we reflect on the Salt March, let's think about what it represents. It's more than just a protest against a tax. It's a statement, a declaration of the people's power and dignity. Gandhi showed the world that non-violent resistance could shake the foundations of an empire. He showed that even the simplest of acts, like making salt, can become a powerful symbol of defiance and freedom. The Salt March teaches us about the strength that comes from unity, the power of peaceful protest, and the importance of standing up for what's right. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest revolutions start with a single step, with the courage to challenge injustice and the faith to believe in a better future. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the spirit of the Salt March. Let's remember that in our own lives, we too have the power to make a difference. We too can stand up against injustice and fight for a better world. And just like Gandhi and his followers, we too can turn the seemingly ordinary into the extraordinary. Chapter 6. Round Table Conferences. The year is 1931 and the world watches as a small, simply dressed man from India steps onto the global stage in London. This man is none other than Mahatma Gandhi, and he's about to participate in a series of meetings that will be known as the Round Table Conferences. These meetings are crucial, for they hold the possibility of freedom for India, a nation yearning to break free from British rule. Gandhi's journey to London is not just a physical one, it's a journey of hope and determination. He carries with him the aspirations of millions of Indians, their dreams of independence, and their trust in his leadership. As Gandhi arrives in London, he's greeted with curiosity and awe. The British public is fascinated by this humble man who dares to challenge the mighty British Empire with nothing but the power of his convictions. The Round Table Conferences are a series of 3 meetings, and they are attended by representatives from various political parties and groups from India and Britain. The goal is to discuss and negotiate India's future. The British government is under pressure, both from the growing strength of the Indian independence movement and from international criticism of their colonial policies. Gandhi's presence at the conferences is powerful. He's not just a man, he's a symbol of India's struggle for freedom. His simple khadi robe and spinning wheel stand in stark contrast to the suits and formalities of the British officials. He speaks softly, but his words carry the weight of truth and justice. The negotiations are complex and fraught with tension. Gandhi insists on complete independence for India, while the British seek to maintain control. There are debates and disagreements, moments of hope and moments of despair. Gandhi remains steadfast, guided by his principles of satyagraha and non-violent resistance. He refuses to compromise on the fundamental rights of the Indian people. But the path to freedom is never easy. The conferences are marred by divisions and conflicts, not just between the British and the Indians, but also among the various Indian representatives. The question of how to ensure the rights and representation of different religious and social groups in an independent India is particularly contentious. Despite the challenges, Gandhi's presence at the Round Table Conferences is a statement. It's a message to the world that India is no longer willing to be a subject of the British Empire. It's a demonstration of the power of peaceful resistance, of the strength that comes from moral conviction, and the courage to stand up against injustice. The conferences conclude without a clear path to independence, but they are not in vain. They mark a significant moment in the struggle for Indian freedom, a moment when the voices of the Indian people were heard on the world stage. They also reveal the deep divisions and challenges that India must overcome to achieve true unity and freedom. As we reflect on the Round Table Conferences, let's think about what they represent. They're a reminder that the road to freedom is often long and difficult, filled with obstacles and setbacks, but they also show us that dialogue and negotiation are important, that having a seat at the table is a crucial step towards change. Gandhi's participation in the conferences teaches us about the importance of perseverance, of holding firm to one's principles even in the face of opposition. It shows us the power of a single individual to inspire and lead a nation towards a better future. So, as we close this chapter, let's remember the lessons of the Round Table Conferences. Let's remember that in our own struggles, whether they're big or small, we too can make a difference. We too can raise our voices, stand up for what we believe in, and work towards a world that is fairer and more just. And just like Gandhi, we too can hold on to the hope that, in the end, truth and justice will prevail. Chapter 7. Quit India Movement. In the year 1942, the air in India is thick with the spirit of defiance and the call for freedom. A voice rises above the rest, a voice that has become the symbol of India's struggle, It is the voice of Mahatma Gandhi, and his message is clear and resolute. Quit India. This is the story of the Quit India movement, a crucial chapter in the fight for Indian independence. The movement begins in the shadow of World War II. India is still under British rule, and the war has intensified the demand for freedom. The Indian people are tired of being used as pawns in a global conflict, tired of oppression and injustice. They want independence, and they want it now. Gandhi understands this desire. He knows that it's time for action, time to escalate the campaign against British rule. On the 8th of August 1942, Gandhi addresses a massive crowd in Mumbai. His speech is a call to action, an appeal for a non-violent struggle. He tells the people, "We shall either free India or die in the attempt." These words ignite a fire across the nation. The Quit India movement has begun. The movement is a mass protest, a nationwide uprising. It's not just political leaders and activists, it's everyone, men, women, young, old, rich, poor. People from all walks of life come together with a single demand: the British must leave India. They organize strikes, demonstrations, and acts of civil disobedience. The streets are filled with the chants of "Quit India," but the path of non-violent resistance is met with violent repression. The British government cracks down on the movement with all its might. Leaders are arrested, protesters are beaten, and the press is censored. Gandhi himself is arrested along with many other leaders, taken away in the darkness of the night. The movement seems leaderless, but the people are not deterred. Even in the face of harsh repression, the spirit of the movement doesn't die. It takes on new forms, adapts, and continues. Secret radio broadcasts keep the flame of resistance alive. Underground pamphlets spread the message of defiance. The Indian people show an incredible resilience, a strength that comes from their unity and their belief in the cause of freedom. The Quit India movement is more than just a protest. It's a turning point. It shows the world that India's demand for independence cannot be ignored. It proves that the Indian people are ready to govern themselves, ready to throw off the shackles of colonial rule. The movement shakes the foundations of the British Empire and makes it clear that their time in India is coming to an end. As we reflect on the Quit India movement, let's think about what it represents. It's a story of courage and determination, of a people standing up against an empire. It's a reminder that the power of non-violent resistance is not in its ability to inflict harm, but in its ability to inspire and unite. The movement teaches us about the strength that comes from solidarity, the power of a united voice against injustice. It shows us that even when leaders are silenced, the people can carry on the fight. It's a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human will to be free. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the spirit of the Quit India movement. Let's remember that in our own lives, we too face challenges and injustices. We too have the power to raise our voices, to stand up for what's right, and to strive for a better world. And just like the people of India in 1942, we too can be a part of something bigger, a part of a movement for change. Chapter 8. Jailed for Justice. In the heart of the struggle for India's freedom, there stands a man whose commitment to justice and truth leads him down a path filled with challenges and sacrifices. This man is Mahatma Gandhi, and one of the most profound sacrifices he makes is his repeated imprisonments. Each time he is jailed, it is a testament to his unwavering dedication to the cause of justice and freedom. Gandhi's imprisonments are not moments of defeat, but rather powerful demonstrations of his commitment to non-violent resistance. The walls of his cell cannot contain the spirit of his message, nor silence the power of his ideals. Every time Gandhi is taken away in handcuffs, it is not just a man who is being imprisoned, but the very idea of freedom itself. Let us picture Gandhi as he is first imprisoned. The year is 1922, and Gandhi is already a well-known leader of the Indian independence movement. He has been leading campaigns of civil disobedience, inspiring people across the nation to stand up against British rule. But with this leadership comes the attention of the British authorities, who see him as a threat to their control. As Gandhi is taken away, there is a sense of outrage among the people, a feeling of injustice that resonates across the nation. But Gandhi urges calm and non-violence. He sees his imprisonment as an opportunity, a way to show the world the strength of his convictions and the power of peaceful resistance. Inside the jail, Gandhi's life is a stark contrast to his days of leading masses. The solitude of his cell is a far cry from the crowds and the energy of the movement outside. But even here, Gandhi finds strength. He spends his days in prayer and meditation, in reading and writing. He reflects on his journey and plans for the future. Even behind bars, he continues to inspire and lead. Throughout the years, Gandhi's imprisonments become almost a routine part of his struggle. He is arrested several times, each time for his unwavering commitment to the cause of Indian independence. But with each imprisonment, his resolve only strengthens, and his legend grows. The personal cost of these repeated imprisonments is high. Gandhi's health suffers. He grows weaker with each jail term. His time away from family and the movement he leads is a heavy burden. But Gandhi accepts these sacrifices as necessary for the greater good. He believes that his suffering is a small price to pay for the freedom and justice of millions. Gandhi's time in jail is also a period of introspection and learning. He reads extensively, writes prolifically, and thinks deeply about the path ahead. Even as his body is confined, his mind remains free, exploring ideas and strategies for the continued fight for freedom. As we reflect on Gandhi's imprisonments, let's think about what they represent. They are not just moments of hardship, but also powerful symbols of resistance. They show us that sometimes standing up for what's right means facing adversity and making sacrifices. They remind us of the personal cost that often comes with fighting for justice. Gandhi's time in jail teaches us about the strength of the human spirit, about the power of an individual to make a difference. It's a lesson in courage, in the face of overwhelming odds, and a testament to the power of peaceful resistance. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the spirit of Gandhi's sacrifices. Let's remember that in our own lives, when we stand up for what's right, we might face challenges and hardships. But like Gandhi, we can find strength in our convictions, and we can continue to fight for justice, no matter the cost. For in the end, it is not just about the freedom of one man, but the freedom and justice for all. Chapter 9. The Voice of Peace. In the midst of India's tumultuous journey towards independence, a new challenge arises that threatens to tear the nation apart. As the struggle against British rule intensifies, so does the tension between Hindus and Muslims. It is during these trying times that Mahatma Gandhi emerges not just as a leader for independence, but as a beacon of hope for unity and peace. Gandhi firmly believes that India is a land for all its people, regardless of religion. He envisions a nation where Hindus and Muslims live together in harmony, respecting each other's beliefs and traditions. However, as the political landscape becomes more complex and divisive, Gandhi's vision is put to the test. The air is thick with mistrust and fear, with incidents of violence flaring up in various parts of the country. Communities that once lived together are now looking at each other with suspicion. But amidst this chaos, Gandhi's voice rings out clear and strong, calling for peace, for brotherhood, for understanding. Gandhi embarks on a mission to bring healing to the nation. He travels to areas hit by communal violence, walking through streets that have witnessed bloodshed and sorrow. He meets with leaders from both communities, urging them to put aside their differences and work together for the greater good of the nation. His message is simple yet profound. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Gandhi believes that violence only begets more violence and that the cycle of hatred must be broken with love and compassion. He advocates for ahimsa, or non-violence, not just as a strategy for political struggle, but as a way of life, a means to overcome hatred and division. One of the most poignant moments in Gandhi's quest for peace is his fast unto death. In response to escalating violence and the British proposal to partition the country, Gandhi decides to fast, willing to sacrifice his own life if it means bringing peace to the nation. His fast sends a powerful message across the country, touching the hearts of millions. People from different communities come together, pledging to end the violence and work towards harmony. Gandhi's efforts to promote peace go beyond public speeches and fasts. He also works at the grassroots level, setting up programs to rebuild homes and restore trust in communities torn apart by violence. He encourages dialogue and reconciliation, believing that understanding and empathy are the first steps towards healing. Despite Gandhi's tireless efforts, the path to peace is fraught with challenges. The partition of India into two separate nations, India and Pakistan, becomes an inevitable reality, a decision that deeply saddens Gandhi. He sees it as a failure of his dream of a united India, where all communities live together in harmony. Yet, even in the face of this heartbreaking development, Gandhi's commitment to peace never wavers. He continues to work tirelessly, spreading his message of non-violence and unity until the very end of his life. As we reflect on this chapter of Gandhi's life, let's think about the lessons it offers. Gandhi's efforts to promote peace teach us about the power of love, compassion, and understanding. They show us that even in the darkest of times, there is a light that can guide us towards harmony and unity. Gandhi's story is a reminder that peace is not just the absence of conflict, but the presence of justice and mutual respect. It's a call to each of us to be peacemakers in our own lives, to bridge divides, heal wounds, and build a world where everyone can live with dignity and respect. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the spirit of Gandhi's message. Let's remember that in our own struggles and conflicts, we have a choice. We can choose the path of violence and division, or we can choose the path of peace and unity. Let's be inspired by Gandhi's vision and his unwavering commitment to a world where all people live together in harmony and peace. Chapter 10. Freedom and Partition. August 15, 1947, marks a day of monumental significance in the history of India. It's a day of jubilation and sorrow, a moment of triumph and tragedy. This is the story of India's long-awaited independence from British rule and the painful partition that rends the nation in two. As we delve into this chapter, we witness the duality of emotions that sweep across the land, the dreams fulfilled and the dreams shattered. The struggle for freedom, led by Mahatma Gandhi and countless other freedom fighters, has finally borne fruit. India awakens to a new dawn, a dawn of self-rule, of possibilities, and of hope. The air is thick with celebration, the sky alight with fireworks. People dance in the streets, their faces alight with joy. After centuries of colonial rule, India is free at last. But amidst the celebrations, there's a shadow that looms large. The joy of independence is marred by the heart-wrenching reality of partition. India is to be divided into two nations, a predominantly Hindu India and a predominantly Muslim Pakistan. This division is not just a line on a map. It's a deep wound that cuts through communities, families, and hearts. The partition leads to one of the largest mass migrations in human history. Millions of people find themselves on the wrong side of the border. Hindus and Sikhs in Pakistan move to India, while Muslims in India move to Pakistan. Their journeys are fraught with danger, filled with stories of loss, violence, and unimaginable suffering. Trains arrive at stations, filled not with passengers, but with the bodies of those who did not survive the journey. Gandhi, the architect of India's non-violent struggle for freedom, is devastated by the bloodshed and division. He had dreamt of an India where all religions coexist peacefully, but now he witnesses the horror of communal violence. His heart aches for every life lost, every family torn apart. Gandhi travels to the affected areas, trying desperately to quell the violence, to bring peace to a land he loves so dearly. As we reflect on this tumultuous time, we understand that independence is not just a moment of victory. It's a complex tapestry woven with threads of joy and sorrow. The freedom that India gains is precious, but it comes at a high cost. The partition serves as a reminder of the fragility of peace and the destructive power of hatred and fear. Gandhi's role during this period is crucial. He remains a steadfast advocate for peace and unity, even as the world around him crumbles. He continues to preach non-violence, urging people to look beyond their grief and anger, to embrace their shared humanity. His message is one of reconciliation and hope, a call to heal the wounds of the past and build a future where all can live with dignity and respect. As we close this chapter, let's take a moment to reflect on the lessons it offers. The story of India's independence and partition teaches us about the complexity of freedom, the joy of liberation, and the pain of division. It shows us the consequences of hatred and the power of non-violence. It reminds us that the path to peace is never easy, but it's a path we must strive to walk, no matter how difficult it may be. So, as we move forward, let's carry with us the spirit of Gandhi's message. Let's remember that in our own lives, we too face choices between division and unity, between hatred and understanding. Let's choose the path of peace and reconciliation, the path that leads to a world where all are free to live in harmony and mutual respect. For in the end, true freedom is not just about liberating a nation, it's about liberating the hearts and minds of its people. Chapter 11. The Final Fast. In the early days of January 1948, India finds itself at a crossroads. The joy of independence is overshadowed by the continuing communal violence that tears at the fabric of the nation. Hindus and Muslims, neighbors for centuries, are now engulfed in a cycle of hatred and bloodshed. It is in these dark times that Mahatma Gandhi, a beacon of peace and non-violence, decides to undertake what will be his final fast. His goal is simple yet profound: to bring an end to the violence and restore peace in the heart of every Indian. Gandhi's decision to fast is not taken lightly. He knows his health is failing, that his body is weak, but his spirit is as strong as ever, his commitment to peace unyielding. He sees the fast as his last resort, a final plea to the conscience of the nation. He believes that if he cannot stop the violence with his words and actions, perhaps his suffering will. As Gandhi begins his fast, the news spreads like wildfire across India and the world. People are shocked, worried for the frail, elderly man who has already given so much for his country. But Gandhi is resolute. He refuses to eat until peace is restored, until Hindus and Muslims can once again live together in harmony. The days pass, and Gandhi grows weaker. His followers and admirers flock to his side, begging him to stop, to save his strength. Leaders from different communities come to him, pledging to work for peace. Gandhi listens, but he does not relent. He will not end his fast until he is convinced that his message has been heard, that real steps are being taken to end the violence. As Gandhi continues his fast, a remarkable thing begins to happen. The people of India start to reflect on their actions, on the madness that has consumed them. Slowly, the tide begins to turn. Reports of violence decrease and stories of reconciliation start to emerge. Hindus and Muslims come together to pray for Gandhi's health, to pledge their commitment to peace. Gandhi's fast is not just a call for peace. It's a powerful symbol of sacrifice and unity. It shows the world that one man's suffering can move the hearts of millions, that the power of non-violence is stronger than the deadliest weapons. Gandhi's fast becomes a turning point, a moment when the nation collectively decides to choose a different path. Finally, after 6 days, Gandhi ends his fast. He is weak, but his eyes shine with the light of victory. He has not just survived, he has triumphed. His fast has not only stopped the bloodshed, but has also rekindled the flame of hope and brotherhood in the hearts of the Indian people. As we reflect on Gandhi's final fast, let's think about the lessons it offers. It's a story of courage and conviction, of a man who was willing to give his life to bring peace to his beloved country. It's a reminder of the power of non-violence, of the strength that lies in forgiveness and reconciliation. Gandhi's final fast teaches us about the importance of standing up for what's right, even when the odds are against you. It shows us that real change starts not with anger or hatred, but with love and understanding. It reminds us that each of us has the power to be an agent of peace, to be a light in the darkness. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the spirit of Gandhi's final fast. Let's remember that in our own lives, we too can make a difference. We too can choose the path of peace and non-violence. And just like Gandhi, we too can be a beacon of hope and a force for good in the world. For in the end, it is not our words but our actions that define us, and it is our commitment to peace that will shape the future for generations to come. Chapter 12. Tragic End. On the evening of January 30th, 1948, a profound silence descends upon the nation of India. The father of the nation, the beacon of peace and non-violence, Mahatma Gandhi, has fallen. This chapter unfolds the tragic tale of his assassination and the enduring legacy of his final moments, a story that resonates with the power of his life and the profound impact of his death. Gandhi's last days are spent in the Birla House in New Delhi. Despite his frail health, his spirit is unbroken, his commitment to peace unwavering. He continues to meet with people from all walks of life, to pray for unity and harmony among all Indians. But the forces of hatred and violence that he has fought so hard against are closing in, culminating in a moment that will forever be etched in the annals of history. On that fateful evening, as Gandhi walks to his daily prayer meeting, a man steps forward. He bows in respect, and then, in a devastating act of violence, he fires 3 bullets into Gandhi's chest. The Mahatma falls, his last words reportedly, "Hey Ram," an invocation of the name of God. The news of Gandhi's assassination spreads like wildfire, plunging the nation and the world into shock and mourning. People gather in the streets, tears streaming down their faces, their hearts heavy with grief. The man who led India to freedom, who taught the world the power of non-violence and peace, has been taken away by an act of violence. Gandhi's death is not just the loss of a leader, it's a moment of profound reflection for the nation and the world. It's a time to contemplate the values he stood for and the vision he had for humanity. The loss is immense, but in the wake of this tragedy, there's also a renewed commitment to continue his legacy, to turn the grief into a force for good. As the nation mourns, there are also questions and introspection. How did it come to this? How can a nation move forward from such a loss? The answers are not easy, but Gandhi's life and teachings provide a guiding light. His principles of truth, non-violence and compassion become more vital than ever. They stand as a beacon against the darkness of hatred and violence. In the aftermath of his assassination, Gandhi's legacy begins to take on a new form. He becomes more than a national leader. He becomes a symbol of peace and non-violence for the entire world. His teachings inspire movements for civil rights and freedom across the globe. His philosophy influences leaders and ordinary people alike, showing that the path of non-violence is not just a strategy, but a way of life. As we reflect on Gandhi's tragic end, let's also think about the legacy of his final moments. They remind us that the struggle for peace and justice is often fraught with challenges and setbacks. They teach us that sometimes the greatest heroes are those who pay the ultimate price for their convictions. Gandhi's story is a testament to the power of an individual to make a difference in the world. It's a reminder that each of us has the potential to be a force for good, to stand up for what's right, and to live our lives with purpose and compassion. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the lessons of Gandhi's life and the legacy of his death. Let's remember that in the face of darkness, we can choose light. In the face of hatred, we can choose love. And in the face of violence, we can choose peace. For in the end, it is these choices that define us. And it is these choices that will shape the future for generations to come. Chapter 13. The Philosophy of Non-Violence. In the heart of a world often torn by strife and conflict, there emerges a philosophy so powerful, yet so peaceful, that it transforms not just a nation, but the entire world. This is the philosophy of non-violence, or ahimsa, as taught and lived by Mahatma Gandhi. As we journey through this chapter, we delve into the principles of this profound philosophy and explore how it has influenced the world. Ahimsa, in Sanskrit, means non-violence. But to Gandhi, it's much more than just the absence of violence. It's a way of life, a guide to living with love, respect, and compassion for all beings. Gandhi believes that non-violence is the highest form of bravery, not the coward's refuge. It's the force that unites, that heals, that brings about change without inflicting harm. The roots of Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence are deep. They are planted in the fertile soil of ancient Indian traditions, nurtured by his personal experiences, and blossomed through his tireless work for India's independence and social reform. He draws inspiration from various religious texts, including the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, and the Quran, finding common ground in their teachings of love and compassion. Gandhi's non-violence is not passive. It's active and courageous. It's standing up against injustice, not with weapons or anger, but with the moral force of truth and righteousness. He believes in the power of the soul force, or satyagraha, which means holding on to the truth. It's about confronting the oppressor, not to defeat them, but to win them over, to transform them with the power of love and truth. One of the most significant aspects of Gandhi's non-violence is its inclusivity. It's not just for the strong or the saintly, it's for everyone. Gandhi believes that at the core of every human being is the capacity for compassion and goodness. Non-violence is about tapping into that inherent nature, about awakening the soul to its true potential. Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence goes beyond just political struggle. It extends to all areas of life. It's about living harmoniously with nature, about treating all living beings with respect, about simple living and high thinking. It's a holistic approach to life that seeks to bring harmony and balance to the individual, the community, and the world. The impact of Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence is immense. It inspires some of the most significant movements for freedom and civil rights around the globe. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and Cesar Chavez adopt and adapt his principles, using them to lead their people in their fight for justice and equality. The legacy of Gandhi's non-violence is a testament to its power and relevance. In a world where violence and hatred often seem to dominate, the principles of non-violence offer a different path. They show us that change is possible, that love is stronger than hate, and that peace is more enduring than conflict. As we reflect on Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence, let's think about how we can apply these principles in our own lives. How can we confront injustice with courage and compassion? How can we live in harmony with others and the world around us? How can we be the change we wish to see in the world? So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the spirit of Gandhi's non-violence. Let's remember that each of us has the power to make a difference, to spread love and light in our corner of the world. And let's hold on to the hope that together we can create a world where peace and justice prevail for all. Chapter 14. Gandhi's Global Impact. In a world often divided by borders and beliefs, there comes a man whose ideas know no boundaries, whose principles ignite change across continents. This man is Mahatma Gandhi, and this chapter is a journey through the global impact of his teachings, a story that unfolds in the hearts and minds of those who stand up for justice and equality everywhere. Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence and civil disobedience does not end with India's struggle for independence. It echoes across oceans, influencing some of the most significant civil rights movements and leaders of the 20th century. His ideas become a beacon of hope and a strategy for change for oppressed people worldwide. One of the most notable figures influenced by Gandhi is Martin Luther King Jr., a leader in the American civil rights movement. King first encounters Gandhi's teachings while studying theology and is deeply moved by the idea of non-violent resistance. He sees in it a powerful way to combat the deep-seated racism and segregation in the United States. King adapts Gandhi's principles to the American context, using them to lead historic campaigns like the Montgomery bus boycott and the March on Washington. His "I Have a Dream" speech resonates with the echoes of Gandhi's vision, a call for freedom and equality delivered with the moral force of non-violence. King's work leads to significant changes in American laws and society, but perhaps more importantly, it inspires millions to believe in the power of peaceful protest. Halfway across the world in South Africa, another leader finds inspiration in Gandhi's teachings. Nelson Mandela, in his long fight against apartheid, incorporates the principles of non-violence and civil disobedience. Though his journey includes both peaceful protests and armed resistance, Mandela's long-term vision is one of reconciliation and unity, a vision deeply influenced by Gandhi's teachings. Mandela's leadership eventually leads to the end of apartheid, and his presidency marks the beginning of a new era for South Africa. His focus on forgiveness and reconciliation echoes Gandhi's belief in the power of love and understanding to heal even the deepest wounds. But the influence of Gandhi's ideas is not limited to these famous leaders. It spreads to countless other movements and struggles around the world. From the Solidarity movement in Poland to the pro-democracy protests in Tiananmen Square. Gandhi's legacy is evident wherever people stand up peacefully against oppression and injustice. Gandhi's global impact is a testament to the universal appeal of his ideas. His philosophy of non-violence speaks to the common human desire for peace and justice. It offers a way to fight against oppression that doesn't perpetuate the cycle of violence and hatred. It's a message of hope and empowerment, a call to action that resonates in every corner of the globe. As we reflect on Gandhi's global impact, Let's think about the power of ideas to cross borders and change the world. Gandhi's teachings remind us that we are all connected, that our struggles are not isolated, and that our actions can inspire and influence people far beyond our immediate surroundings. Gandhi's story is a reminder that each of us has the power to make a difference, to contribute to the global fight for justice and peace. His legacy challenges us to look beyond our differences and work together for a better world. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the spirit of Gandhi's global impact. Let's remember that the principles of nonviolence and civil disobedience are not just historical strategies, but living ideas, tools that we can use in our own lives and communities. And let's hold on to the hope that, together, we can continue Gandhi's work, building a world where freedom and justice prevail for all. Chapter 15. Personal Life and Struggles. Behind the grandeur of his public life and the monumental impact of his work, Mahatma Gandhi was also a man of flesh and blood, with a family and personal struggles that shaped his journey. This chapter draws back the curtain to reveal the man behind the Mahatma, exploring his personal life and the challenges he faced in his quest for truth and justice. Born in Porbandar, India, in 1869, to Karamchand and Putlibai Gandhi, Mohandas was the youngest of his siblings. His father was a chief minister, and his mother was a deeply religious woman. Their influence on young Mohandas was profound, instilling in him values of truth, duty, and non-violence, which would later become the cornerstones of his philosophy. Gandhi's personal life was marked by early upheavals. At the tender age of 13, he was married to Kasturba, a girl of the same age, in an arranged marriage. This was a common practice in India at the time, but it was a responsibility that both Gandhi and Kasturba had to grow into. Their marriage was not without its challenges, but it matured into a deep partnership. Kasturba became an integral part of Gandhi's life and work, supporting and participating in his struggles and movements. As a young man, Gandhi left for London to study law, a decision that was both an adventure and a challenge. He struggled with loneliness and the dilemma of adapting to Western culture while staying true to his roots. His time in London was a period of self-discovery and learning, shaping his thoughts and beliefs. Upon his return to India and later in South Africa, Gandhi faced numerous personal and professional challenges. He confronted racial discrimination firsthand and grappled with the realities of injustice and oppression. These experiences were pivotal, turning him towards activism and shaping his approach to fighting for rights and freedom. Despite his growing public life, Gandhi's personal struggles continued. He strove for personal and spiritual development, adopting a life of simplicity and self-discipline. His practices, including celibacy and a minimalist lifestyle, were often challenging not only for him but also for his family. He sought to live his principles of truth and non-violence in every aspect of his life, a quest that was often demanding and fraught with internal conflicts. Gandhi's relationship with his children was another aspect of his personal life. As a father, he was loving but also stern, with high expectations. His commitment to his cause and his frequent imprisonments took a toll on his family life, leading to complex relationships and emotional struggles for both Gandhi and his children. Throughout his life, Gandhi faced criticisms, not only from his adversaries, but also from those close to him. His ideas and methods were often questioned, and he constantly re-evaluated his actions and beliefs in response. His life was a journey of learning and unlearning, of facing doubts and finding clarity. As we reflect on Gandhi's personal life and struggles, let's think about the human aspect of his journey. His story reminds us that even the greatest of leaders are also human, with their own sets of challenges and conflicts. Gandhi's life shows us the importance of personal integrity and the courage to live by one's principles. Gandhi's personal struggles teach us about the complexity of the human experience, the intertwining of the public and the private, and the ongoing quest for truth and meaning. They remind us that the path to making a difference in the world is often a personal and internal one. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the lessons from Gandhi's personal life and struggles. Let's remember that our journeys will also have their challenges and conflicts, but like Gandhi, we can face them with courage and conviction. And let's be inspired by his example to live our values and principles, not just in the grand moments of life, but in its everyday aspects as well. Chapter 16. Gandhi in the Modern World. As we navigate through the complexities of the 21st century, with its rapid technological advances, global challenges, and diverse political landscapes, one might wonder about the relevance of Mahatma Gandhi, a figure from another era. However, as we delve into this chapter, we discover that Gandhi's teachings and principles are not just historical footnotes, but living ideas, resonating profoundly with the modern world. In today's global society, we are more connected than ever before, yet we also face significant challenges: climate change, social inequality, ongoing conflicts, and a pandemic that has touched every corner of the globe. It is in these times of crisis and uncertainty that Gandhi's principles of non-violence, truth, and compassion become not just relevant but essential. Gandhi's commitment to non-violence, or ahimsa, is perhaps his most enduring legacy. In a world where conflict and violence seem ever-present, his call for peaceful resolution and mutual respect is a beacon of hope. Gandhi believed that true strength lies not in the power to destroy, but in the courage to understand and to heal. This principle is as applicable in resolving personal disputes as it is in international diplomacy. His concept of satyagraha, or the force of truth, is another principle with profound implications for the modern world. In an age of misinformation and fake news, Gandhi's emphasis on truth and integrity is a call to each of us to seek and uphold truth in our lives and societies. It's a reminder that real change starts with being truthful, first to ourselves and then to the world. Gandhi's teachings also extend to issues of social justice and equality. He spent his life fighting against discrimination and advocating for the rights of the marginalized. Today, as movements for racial, gender, and economic equality gain momentum across the world, Gandhi's commitment to social justice and his methods of peaceful protest continue to inspire and guide new generations. Moreover, Gandhi's philosophy of simple living is profoundly relevant in our consumer-driven world. As we grapple with environmental crises and the unsustainable exploitation of resources, his message of living simply, so that others may simply live, offers a path to sustainability and harmony with nature. Gandhi's impact is not confined to any one nation or culture. It's global. His life and teachings have inspired individuals and movements worldwide, from Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement in the United States to Nelson Mandela and the fight against apartheid in South Africa. His legacy is a testament to the universal appeal of his message and the broad scope of his influence. As we reflect on Gandhi's relevance in the modern world, let's consider how his teachings can apply to our lives and our communities. How can we embody the principles of nonviolence and truth in our actions? How can we contribute to a more just and peaceful world? Gandhi's life reminds us that change starts with the individual, that each of us has the power and the responsibility to make a difference. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry forward the spirit of Gandhi into the modern world. Let's be inspired by his vision and his unwavering commitment to peace, justice, and human dignity. And let's remember that even in the face of the greatest challenges, the principles of non-violence, truth, and compassion can guide us towards a better future. For as Gandhi himself said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." Chapter 17. Remembering the Mahatma. As the sun rises and sets on lands far and wide, the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi continues to illuminate the hearts and minds of millions. From the vast stretches of India to the corners of the globe, Gandhi is not just remembered, he is revered. This chapter takes us on a journey to explore how Gandhi, the great soul, is honored and remembered through symbols, memorials, and the enduring impact of his teachings. In India, Gandhi's memory is enshrined in the hearts of the people and the fabric of the nation. Every year on October 2nd, Gandhi's birthday is celebrated as Gandhi Jayanti, a national holiday marked by prayers, tributes, and reflections on his life and teachings. Schools, offices, and communities come together to honor the man who led India to freedom and showed the world the power of non-violence and truth. Gandhi's image is omnipresent in India, from the currency notes that carry his gentle smile to the statues and portraits that grace public spaces and institutions. His spectacles, simple loincloth, and spinning wheel have become symbols of his philosophy of simplicity and self-reliance. They remind the people of India of the values that Gandhi stood for and the vision he had for an independent, self-sufficient nation. Across India, numerous memorials and museums are dedicated to Gandhi, preserving his legacy for future generations. The most poignant of these is the Raj Ghat in New Delhi, a simple black marble platform marking the spot of Gandhi's cremation. It's a place of quiet reflection, where people from all walks of life come to pay their respects to the Mahatma, the father of their nation. But Gandhi's legacy extends far beyond the borders of India. Around the world, he is remembered as a symbol of peace, non-violence, and human dignity. His life and teachings have inspired countless individuals and movements, influencing the course of history in diverse lands. In countries from America to Africa, statues and memorials of Gandhi stand as a testament to his global impact. These memorials are not just stone and bronze, they are beacons of hope, reminding us of the universal values that Gandhi embodied. They are gathering places for those who seek inspiration and strength in their own struggles for justice and peace. Moreover, Gandhi's influence is evident in the International Day of Nonviolence, observed on his birthday by the United Nations. It's a day that calls upon the global community to spread the message of nonviolence through education and public awareness. On this day, people worldwide reflect on Gandhi's vision and reaffirm their commitment to peace and tolerance. As we reflect on how Gandhi is remembered, let's also think about what his memory inspires in each of us. How do we carry forward his legacy in our own lives? How do we apply his principles of nonviolence and truth in our actions and interactions? Remembering Gandhi is not just about honoring the past, it's about shaping the future with the values and ideals he championed. So as we close this chapter, let's carry with us the memory of the Mahatma. Let's remember Gandhi, not just as a figure in history books, but as a guiding light in our journey towards a better world. Let's honor his memory by living the values he lived for: truth, non-violence, and compassion. And let's keep his legacy alive, not just in statues and memorials, but in our thoughts, our words, and our actions, today and every day. For in remembering Gandhi, we remember the best of what we can be. Chapter 18. The Path Forward. As we reach the final chapter of our journey through the life and legacy of Mahatma Gandhi, we stand at a crossroads, Behind us lies the rich tapestry of Gandhi's life, his struggles, his victories, and his enduring teachings. Ahead lies the path forward, a path each of us must choose, inspired by the lessons we've learned and the values we cherish. This chapter is an invitation, a call to reflect on what we can learn from Gandhi's life and how we can apply his teachings in our quest for justice and peace in our own lives. Gandhi's life was a testament to the power of non-violence, truth, and compassion. He showed us that real change doesn't come from the might of weapons or the authority of positions. It comes from the strength of character, the power of truth, and the courage to stand for what's right. As we look to the path forward, let's ask ourselves, how can we embody these principles in our daily lives? How can we be agents of change in our own communities and beyond? Non-violence, or ahimsa, was at the core of Gandhi's philosophy. It's a principle that goes beyond the absence of physical violence. It's about fostering an attitude of respect, love, and understanding towards all beings. In our own lives, practicing non-violence means not just refraining from harming others, but also actively working to heal divisions, to listen with empathy, and to resolve conflicts with compassion. It means standing up against injustice, not with anger or hatred, but with a firm commitment to peace and fairness. Gandhi's concept of satyagraha, or the force of truth, is another powerful tool on the path forward. In an age where misinformation and half-truths can spread like wildfire, committing to truth is more important than ever. Being a satyagrahi in the modern world means seeking the truth with an open mind, speaking it with courage, and living it with integrity. It means being honest in our dealings, accountable for our actions, and transparent in our intentions. One of the most profound lessons from Gandhi's life is the idea of sarvodaya, the welfare of all. Gandhi believed that true progress is not just about the growth of the few, but the upliftment of all, especially the most marginalized and disadvantaged. As we walk the path forward, let's think about how we can contribute to the well-being of others, how we can make our societies more inclusive, fair, and just. Whether it's through volunteering, advocacy, or simple acts of kindness, each of us has the power to make a difference. Gandhi's life also teaches us about the importance of personal growth and self-discipline. He was a lifelong learner, constantly evolving and adapting his beliefs and practices. He embraced a simple lifestyle, focusing on what was essential and meaningful. In our own lives, we can follow his example by seeking knowledge, cultivating self-discipline, and living mindfully and sustainably. As we contemplate the path forward, let's remember that walking in Gandhi's footsteps doesn't mean following him blindly. It means taking inspiration from his life while also finding our path, guided by our values and the needs of our times. It means being courageous, creative, and compassionate in our quest for a better world. So, as we close this chapter and this book, let's not see it as the end, but as a new beginning. Let's take forward the lessons we've learned, the inspiration we've gained, and the commitments we've made. Let's walk the path of non-violence, truth, and compassion, not just in memory of Gandhi, but as a testament to our belief in the ideals he stood for. The path forward may not be easy, but it's the path worth taking. For in walking this path, we honor not just Gandhi's legacy, but the best of what we are and what we can be. And in doing so, we move closer to a world of justice, peace, and harmony, a world that Gandhi dreamed of and dedicated his life to. So let us begin this journey today, with hope in our hearts and the light of Gandhi's teachings to guide us.